Hi folks, tonight I'm revisiting an old friend, a tobacco that I really enjoyed when I'd first started smoking a pipe and began to feel that that was the one tobacco that I could live with for the rest of my life. Um, Various things happened, like the firm who was making it decided that was it didn't want to make any more tobacco, and I sort of, because of that, wiped it off my list virtually, and that's Nightcap. And then Peterson's took over the Dunhill range, and it was supposedly made by the same people who'd continued to make Dunhills, same recipe, same tobacco. So I thought I'd give it another go, and I bought some for my cellar, but I didn't smoke it much. Well, if at all, it was there to use when I got round to it. Well, this week I got round to it. First of all, I want to try and show you some of the tobacco. You can see that it's got quite a lot of Oriental, the small leaves. It's got some Perique, and it's got Cavendish. I think, let me just check now. Sorry, Latakia. Yeah, Latakia, Orientals, and a bit of Perique. Now, I hadn't realised that it had Perique in it when I first liked it, because I've always sort of thought that, Perique I wouldn't like. But I've loaded my Che Guevara pipe, put some in. I've refilled my lighters, so there should be a nice big flame. Just let it burn off a little bit. Now, I've been smoking this for about a week, and I don't know whether you can see, but there's quite a bit left, but it's dryish with being open for a week, so it lights well. As usual, when you're doing a tobacco review, your pipe goes out. All the things you were going to say about the tobacco being easy to light and keep in, disappear into the wind, as you can see. That should be better. As you can see, it's a greyish smoke. If somebody said to me, "What's Nightcap like?" I'd say it's a traditional English tobacco. Having said that, English tobaccos vary quite a bit, but they all have the same kind of smokability. Latakia is one of the main constituents that I like. It's smooth, very little tongue burn at all. In fact, I don't get tongue burn from it. Although if you smoke it quickly and pack it differently, you might. I've learned a bit more how to pack a pipe, how to smoke a pipe in my style, so I don't get as much tongue burn as I used to. The retrohale's pleasant. You certainly get the orientals and that little spice of Perique, but that's not overpowering. And you get the Latakia, which is the main body of the blend. But again, it's not overpowering as a Latakia blend. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, brilliantly blended to give a nice, tasteful, quality smoke. And when I first got back to it, I wondered whether it'd be different now that Peterson's had taken over it. But I don't think it is. In fact, I think it's as good as I remember it being. But how can you tell? Because your taste changes each time you smoke, virtually. Good for me. If you have a really hard, full smoke like I did then, you can get a hotness at the back of your throat. It's by no means bad, it's just that you've got a lot of the taste going on, a lot of the mixing of stuff going on. Now, this is the first time I've smoked it in my meerschaum, and I must admit that it is smoking a little differently to the way it's been smoking in a cob or in some of my briar pipes. But it's still got the same texture, taste, and that I expect from an English tobacco. So on balance, coming back to a good friend has been a nice surprise. And like all good friends who you meet after a time, it's as if you haven't been away. And when I said early on in my smoking career that I felt that that was one of my favourite blends and that I could smoke it regularly, I still think it is. I'm changing quite a lot in the way I smoke. At one time I would try and follow tobaccos, chase after them. Somebody had come up with a new or a blend that hadn't been smoked for a while, and you'd find everybody was smoking it. So the temptation. Sorry. Was to go with the in crowd, and you see it quite regularly. Somebody will put up a review, for instance, say Eileen's Dream, and then somebody else would do it, and then somebody else, and eventually we'd all be having a go at Eileen's Dream. But I've stopped that mainly because of Brexit.
It's 20 hours.
Some of the problems we have in this country with tax and getting tobacco into the country. There are tobaccos that will always try and get in. One of them's 10 Russians. For me, it's a beautiful, strong Latakia. And also, the Captain Earl's 10 Russians. I was going to say, and also Captain Earl's tobacco, but it is Captain Earl's 10 Russians. And one or two others that I really like that I'll keep trying to get. One of the frustrating things, I don't know whether you've ever found it, you find a tobacco that you like, and before you know it, they stop producing it. I was unlucky in that I never actually got to smoke the McClellan blends. I was new to smoking a pipe. I wasn't sure how to get tobacco from the American companies here, so I never got to smoke the McClellans. A great sadness, because from what I understand, they were beautiful tobaccos, very well blended, very well looked after. But what I tried to do now is cellar deep. And once a month, I'll put in an order for about 100 English pounds worth of tobacco, or 100 plus, the postage comes into that 100. So it means that I buy maybe 5 to 10 tins of a blend, depending on how much I can get it for. And that immediately goes into the cellar. A lot of it tends to be from England that I buy. But there are some American companies that I still buy from, Cuppa Joe's especially. And also some German companies that I try to buy from, Yestervilles and, one or two others. But as I say, the difficulty with the German ones especially is getting them through customs. Whereas before, as part of the European Union, we didn't have to pay anything. We just ordered it, it came through, and that was it. Now, if you're unlucky and customs and excise decide to stop it, you can get charged for customs and excise duty. Excise duty is for those who sell tobacco, really. But customs still think if you're getting a lot in, you must be selling it. And the last lot I got from Germany, I got hit very heavily for tax. Luckily, Carolyn is an understanding wife, and I didn't know whether to pay it or to let customs send it back or destroy it. But she said, no, get it. Anyway, that's visiting an old friend, and again, really is a nice tobacco. It really is. I don't know if I can get that in a better light, but you get the idea. Those lovely Orientals. When I was young, I'm in my 70s now, but when I was young, the one tobacco that was the great one for me, and I guess for many of us, was Balkan Sobrani. And the two different types of Balkan Sobrani something that I miss tremendously. I suppose some of that's looking back in the past with the romantic feeling and the romantic vision of taste and of things were, like we look into the past and say, well, my childhood days, it was all summer days. Fish and chips tasted better, ice cream was, but the whole works. But Balkan Sobrani was a very, very special tobacco. And I used to smoke cigarettes then. So one of my treats was Black Russian, and also a Russian blend called Orchestra, I think, or I think it was Orchestra. I don't know, but it had a blue box with an orchestra on it and the conductor, and the cardboard tube with about that much tobacco on the end of the cigarette. That was nice. Sadly, most tobacconists now don't have the range that they used to have. You could get Egyptian cigarettes, you could get Turkish cigarettes, you could get cigarettes from all around the world. And until we realised just how bad cigarettes were, it was a pleasure to smoke them. I mean, there used to be one called Blue Book that had 5 different tobaccos in it, Turkish, Egyptian, and all that kind of thing. But anyway, all the best, every blessing to you. Remember, each day is called the present for a reason. So enjoy it. Live for the day, because tomorrow none of us knows what will come.